All right, here's my review on the NEXX versus the Arai XD4. And I don't feel like it's a really fair comparison because I don't feel like the NEXX was specifically going after the XD4 because it's such a worse helmet than the XD4. Let's start with the NEXX. Why did I buy the NEXX instead of another Arai? Man, it looks cool as snot. There is no doubt about it. This helmet is the coolest looking helmet in the adventure series to date. The graphics are cool, man. The iridium shield, it comes free with the helmet. So you actually get two shields and a pin lock with this helmet. This is a $500 helmet, so you save a few $100s as opposed to going with the Arai. It's just, you want something that looks new, right? That looks like it's up to date, the styling is cool. You want to look cool too. I mean, let's not lie about it. Everybody wants to look cool when they're out there on their bikes, and this looks freaking cool. Let's start with the good things about the NEXX, because there are some good things. It is a lot lighter than the XD4. I don't know how much lighter. I'm not one of those guys that, hey, let's go put this on a scale and write it on a whiteboard and measure out all these metrics and KPIs and figure out why this is better on paper. Look, man, it feels lighter than the XD4. That should be enough. The sizing is very, very similar to the XD4. This is an XL. My XD4 is an XL. They fit very, 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 very closely, right? The breathability in this helmet from here down is amazing. It flows a ton of air. From here up, it is the hottest helmet I have ever worn, hands down. These cool vents that you see up here, these vents are vents to nowhere. The foam that's under these vents is sealed. They don't pass through the top of your skull. I drilled with a drill bit and an X-Acto knife and a Dremel tool channels to get down to the foam and past the foam so it would cool off the top of my head. Even that doesn't work because these vents are underneath the peak. And you would think that would be great because the air should push the wind straight into those vents, but it doesn't. It pushes them over, and that's because the vents are under the actual shell of the helmet. So the air just goes right over it. You can't feel it. Now, granted, if I have my cruise control on and I put my hands up like a freaking bunny rabbit while I'm going 80 miles an hour down the road, I can catch some decent air and it will cool off the top of my head. But don't plan on that being something that's very convenient to do all the time. It just doesn't happen. The shield. Man, the shield looks cool, doesn't it? Orange iridium, it doesn't get any better than that. It really doesn't. Whoever decided that they were going to put the handle to lift your shield in the middle of your visor came to work drunk that day. And whoever told that guy that he did a good job by putting that tab in the middle of the visor was out drinking with him. This is stupid. It blocks your vision. It takes up your whole freaking eyesight. If you want to flip it open while you're on the road or on a trail, you are actually stopping whatever you're looking at to be able to do that. And while we're on the visor topic, there is no detents. There's what feels like should be detents, but they're not strong enough to keep the visor in this position or this position, or even cracked while you're riding down the road. The wind catches it and either flows it up or snaps it shut. It is either open or closed. So even though they advertise as detents, and the other YouTuber guys that are probably sponsored by NEXX, I'm almost convinced of it, they will tell you, it's 3 detents or whatever. It's freaking not. This thing is open or it's closed. Because the venting sucks so bad on the top, which it should not, because it also has these cool eyebrow vents right here. that you can't feel with your gloves. They're very hard to get to even holding the helmet like I am. They also don't go anywhere. I had to drill the foam out to get it to flow air. The helmet fogs quicker than any other helmet I've ever had in my whole life. And you can't crack it because it won't hold a crack. It slams shut or it slams open. That's why they include the pin lock, guys. I promise you. It's because the engineer said, we don't want to figure it out and spend more money on this helmet to create the venting issues that it needs to reasonably get rid of the fogging issues. So we'll include a pin lock. The pin lock doesn't work either. Isn't that sad? This visor, the iridium has already started chipping from bug splattering on it. I took care of this helmet, guys. I really did. I took every ride, I washed it down. Soap and water, washed it down. Got the bug guts off of it. Up in the UP of Michigan, I noticed that the iridium was chipping where the bugs were hitting it. Now, Chrome Burner, they sent a replacement iridium shield to my house in 4 days from overseas. No questions asked. Those guys were pretty cool about doing that. But nonetheless, man, I'm afraid to put the new shield on because this one's already chipping. So it's like, well, let this one finish chipping away and then I'll replace it with the new one. I don't know. That was, it's part of why I bought the helmet, was it looked so cool with the iridium. And now that it's chipping away, it's kind of sad. Excuse me. Venting from here down is awesome because of this mouthpiece, largely. It's open. There's no shutting it or anything. It's just open. It's like a dirt bike helmet, motocross helmet, just sucks the air in. They do offer this piece. I had this in for a while during the winter and rainy months. And so you snap this one out and you snap this one in. It's open and it flows just as much as this pass-through mouthpiece, which is pretty impressive. When it's closed, it blocks off all air. That's also very cool. The visor tends to fog up super easily when that happens. But also, when you go to open the helmet, you have a tendency of closing the mouthpiece also. And I know it's not a big deal. Just open it back up, right? Close it open. Man, it's kind of annoying. It might not be a big deal, but it can still be annoying. And that is annoying when you're working your bike hard off-road and you realize, oh, this freaking thing closed again. So there's that. I'm not impressed with much outside of the weight on this helmet to this point. I run a Cardo. Wiring the Cardo was extremely easy on this helmet. I hope that the XD5 takes notes on this because it was so nice to be able to run all those wires through the fake air channels in the foam. That's right, they took the time to carve air channels in the foam for fake vents. I'm never gonna forget that, but it did make wiring the Cardo very easily. I had the JBL speakers for my Cardo and they fit really nice into those pockets. It does not pinch my ears. It is really nice and fantastic setup. This thing here is to hold your motocross goggles in place. It's kind of stupid. It's like, it reminds me of those tags that used to come on the back of sweaters and your friends in middle school would grab the tag and yank you back and call you all sorts of homophobic words while they were doing it. I feel like the goggles are designed to hold themselves on your helmet. There is no need for your helmet to be designed to also hold the goggles on your helmet. It just seems redundant. And another cool thing about this helmet that I think it has the Arai beat on is the arch in the back of the helmet right here. And then the arch right there. The mobility in this helmet is crazy good. I think I haven't heard anyone else talk about this. Maybe it's specific to certain body types, but in my Arai, I felt very limited on where I could look. On this, I feel like I can turn my head anywhere I want to go. It's just, the mobility is insanely good, and I love that about this helmet. That feeling goes away very quickly when you start to talk about the interior of this helmet. I would love to take this lining out and show you the cheap plastic crap that they used for snaps. I don't know if they were made out of the same plastic that G.I. Joe's thumb was made off of, where every one of them is snapped off. But I promise you, this liner has maybe 2 or 3 more times of me taking it apart before those snaps completely break off. And then what am I left with? A really cool looking helmet with no liner that I can't use anymore. It was so saddening to see that something so cool is ruined by something that could have been so cheap to upgrade during the manufacturing process. The liner itself, this isn't bad liner, guys. This is like a Under Armour type liner. It's not as plush as the Arai, but it is still a nice quality material they use on the liner. The shape of the padding is nice. There's nothing obtrusive that's pinching your face on this liner. It's a nice quality material they use. The foam is plush and securing at the same time. I feel like the liner it's a great material. Whoever was in charge of how we attach the liner to the helmet, maybe they should look into a different career profession. But this is that's saddening, because I like to wash my liners every now and then, and I feel like if I do that too often on this helmet, I'm going to be without this helmet. The king of adventure, the Ewan McGregor of helmets, right? You just can't beat the quality of Arai. I'm convinced of it. The XD4 has been around for I don't even know how many years, a decade, 10 years, I bet. Man, nothing's free on this helmet. It comes with a visor, and that is it. I have treated this helmet like crap. I have probably 100,000 miles on this helmet. I've ridden many, many, many different kinds of motorcycles on this helmet. There are some complaints I have on this helmet that I think the NEXX does a better job at. One of them is, like we talked about, the mobility of the Arai seems limited to me. The weight of this helmet is noticeably heavier than the NEXX. Again, I'm not putting it on a scale because I could give a crap what a scale tells me. This is heavier, period. The vents on this work, right? On, off, even with the glove. You know what you're doing on the Arai. You can feel it, man. You can feel them working. You know that's open because you can feel it. You know that's closed because you can feel it. I don't need to see it. It freaking works. And if you take the peak off, it works even better, these two top ones. The eyebrow on the lid here, on the shield, they work. You know, everything works on this helmet. I got a few major gripes with this helmet. One, man, this looks so old. I mean, this brings you back to the long way round days. They just haven't changed much in the 20 years that the XD has been out, but 4 generations later, and it just, you know, it's an Arai, you know, that's for sure. You know, it's the XD. The weight of this helmet is a turn off for me. It is so incredibly heavy. It does get hot, but not as hot as the NEXX. I don't know if it's a defect that's on mine. Ever since I've had this helmet, there's been this incredibly loud whistle. And it's right in your ears. I can't find the source of it. I've done everything. I've taped off the visor to see if that goes away. I've taped off vents up here to see if that goes away. I've stuck foam and up here to see if it goes away. And crazy thing is I haven't heard anybody else talk about the whistle of this helmet, man. But it is so freaking loud. If I don't wear earplugs with this helmet, I almost have to stop and find a Walmart or something to find earplugs because it is so freaking loud. The other thing is, man, it is 2023. It is time for an update. At the very least, an update to put pockets in so you can hook your cardo up without it pushing against your ears. You have to put the speakers of a cardo in the cheek pads of the Arai. And for me, they push against like that part of my ear right there. And about 8 hours, maybe, you know, whatever, 6 to 8 hours into my riding day, my ear actually really does start to hurt. And it's painful after a while. So those are my really big gripes with this helmet. Oh, another thing is to take this visor off, it's like these 4 plastic screws. Then you got to take this shield off, and you got to carry a separate shield, or I don't know what you want to call that, like a knuckle, you know, a cover, whatever. You have to carry a separate cover. Hope that you don't strip these out, taking them out with a quarter or a dime or whatever you got on there. And let's be honest, most of us are doing this at a campfire if we're doing it at all. And these things, they break out pretty easily. And then you can take the visor off, and then you got to put the shield back on. Then you got to put your little covers back on and line those up. And then you got to put these things back on. What the hell, man? With this, it is 1 screw. Bam. And it's metal, right? You unscrew that, take the visor out, put the other visor in, screw it back in. Problem solved. It seems so simple, it's stupid. Why are we still not there, right? Let's figure something out. Guys, I'm going to tell you, nobody wanted to like this more than the XD4 than me. Nobody. I wanted something that looked cool. I was one of the first to get one in the States. I wanted to be that guy that was like, hey, I found the ultimate replacement for the XD4. This isn't it, man. I'm a year into the ownership on this thing, and I find myself going back to use the XD4 that I have 7 or 8 years of ride time in. Speaking of that 7 or 8 years of ride time, replacement parts. For 60 or 65 bucks, whatever it was, I bought all new lining, a headliner, cheek pads, whatever else. A new visor I bought, new screws I bought, and this helmet is practically brand new. It is an almost fully rebuildable helmet. I can't give enough props for companies that sell individual parts for expensive things. That's a huge plus. I have not found replacement pads or liners for this. And you're going to need them because those snaps are going to break. And they're going to probably break on you while you're 300,000 miles away from home. It's a shame, man, that this helmet, it looks so freaking badass. I mean, look at that, dude. You feel like you're in Halo, you know? You feel like you're going to go whoop ass. Oh, another thing about this helmet is this strap right here. This strap is pretty cool. It's your typical D-ring, which I like, but it's further away from my throat. And I got a big throat. It's like 18, if you went and bought a dress shirt, it would be 18-inch collar around my throat, right? So you guys that are like that, you'll appreciate that this strap is further away from my throat than the Arai is. But this little magnet that they have right here, this thing is freaking genius. It's so simple. You just, when you, where is it? The extra lashing, after you zip this around, blam, it's a magnet, guys. I mean, and it's a strong magnet. It feels like it's snapped in there. And in my opinion, if you can replace a button with a magnet, why aren't you doing that? Magnets are way better than these snaps, man. And that's awesome. You know, I love that. I wish that this was a better helmet than it was. It's almost there. NEXX, if you're listening, we need better snaps on the liner. These vents up top, they have to freaking work. Your price point's right. $550 shipped to my door. Price point, man, it's right. Like, that's what I want to spend on a helmet, but not for the quality of this helmet. I feel like this is like a Scorpion level helmet, right? This is like, I don't know if you guys have tried the LS2 Pioneer helmet, but this is a little bit better quality than that. Not much better. I just feel like the functionality of this helmet, maybe that's a better word than quality. The functionality of this helmet needs improvements. You shouldn't have a center lift on there. And especially since that first lift, it's hard to do. You have to use your right hand and then lift it up. The Arai, you don't have to do that. I do sitting down on this desk, but it's very easy to do while it's on your head. This one is not. I tend to really struggle with opening that up. Man, you guys just had it so close. You really did. I love the carbon fiber. I love the graphics. You know, I love so many things about this helmet, and the way that it looks makes me wear it more than I should. So that's where I'm at. Arai is next. Who's the king of the hill? It's still Arai. The brand new design loses to the, who knows how old the XD4 is, man, 7, 10 years, whatever. It's still crushing the new competition. Hope you enjoyed it, man. If I can answer any questions, let me know. But that's where I stand.